Banana Slam Jam.
Welcome everybody. Got ourselves a 7.31C patch gameplay update. I actually wasn't sure they were going to do this before the major. Perfect. Yeah, so let's check it out. Let's see what we got. Item changes. Desolator, max stacks reduced to 20. I think that's definitely necessary. The item definitely got buffed, and heroes like TA were super prevalent in the meta. And I think part of it was just giving Desolator an extra like 20 damage. So now it's 15. I thought they were going to reduce the starting damage by like 5, but that works too. I have Scotty. Movement speed against melee heroes. So it's more attack speed, less movement speed. And then against ranged heroes, it's more attack speed and less movement speed. So it's becoming more of a preventing the opponent from fighting back rather than preventing them from running away. This is definitely a slight nerf. I would rather have 10% movement speed than 10% attack speed. But, I mean, I don't think it's enough. The item was bought a lot. It's probably like the best carry item for like the last year. And I think it's still up there. Spirit Vessel was actually definitely broken. Heroes like Coddle and Necro were just getting it like super early. And it was really good against a lot of the meta tanky heroes because it does percent HP damage. So, see, it says 4% of current HP per second. So it definitely needed a nerf. I think increasing its cost is fine. Making it just a bit slower. Satanic attack bonus damage reduced by 7. Another very popular carry item. Urn of Shadows also increased the recipe by 40. So they actually made Spirit Vessel cost 140 more and Urn cost 40 more. Vlad's recipe reduced by 150. Definitely an uncommonly bought item. Heroes like Visage that I've been seeing pop up now. I think he's the prime Vlad's buyer. Maybe heroes like Beastmaster as well will benefit from this. Little tweaks like this can certainly change which heroes become meta just by little cheaper costs and here and there. Bonus lifesteal on Helm buff, mana regen buff. They made it so Wraith Pact doesn't reduce the radius of your Vlad's. That's what it was effectively doing prior. Wraith reprisal damage reduction increased. DPS increased. Casting a Wraith reprisal deletes. Okay, so I guess this prevents like refresher interaction or something. Bonus lifesteal increased by 3%. Okay, I mean this item was definitely underwhelming, so it's cheaper now by 150 gold, and I actually think we'll see a lot of this item. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was like kind of on the verge of being good. And with these little buffs, I think it's enough. Neutral creep changes. Harpy Scout. Take off max mana cost increased to 4%. Vision reduced from Night Stalker ultimate levels to 1200, 800. What a crazy concept. It's just so sad that they couldn't possibly have nerfed this sooner. They definitely had to feel it out, wait about 2 months for this to be fixed. Raise Dead cooldown by 2 seconds. Raise Dead duration by less than 5. So prior, you could easily have 2 armies here. You could actually briefly have 3 armies, and now you have 2 armies for 15 seconds, but you can't have 3. And then they also reduced the armor of the skeleton warriors. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. Like, I don't know how often you guys see Enchantress in your games, but Enchantress could literally take this creep and solo your tier 1s through like backdoor, like meaning like just wrap behind with no creeps and just kill the tower. So this creep was incredibly dumb. I don't even know if this is enough, but they definitely addressed the correct neutral creeps. Let's check out some hero changes. Base damage on Arc Warden increased by an average of 2. Base health regen reduced. Bonus armor reduced. At the highest level, this hero was actually pretty bad, I think. I think he's more of a low MMR pub stomper. I think his lane at the highest level is too weak, so I think this kind of hurts him, actually. We'll see. Fiend's Grip max channel time reduced. I don't think that's too big of a deal. I don't know how often you would channel Fiend's Grip for 6 seconds, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think Bane is still quite strong. Bloodseeker, Shard self-damage is now magical instead of pure. Shard. I assume this is literally his Ags, not his Shard. They drastically buffed Bloodseeker Ags. Drastically. And the cooldown was lowered. Wait, so does this just mean you can buy like Eternal Shroud and not kill yourself? Like, what's the benefit of this? Because it's doing the same damage, right? Because it went from pure damage to magical damage, but it's increased. So I guess it allows you to itemize for yourself. But would you ever go Ag's Eternal Shroud or something? Probably not. I don't know. Mana cost reduced by 10. Shard bonus range decreased. No longer applies bonus damage to creep heroes and Roche. Yeah, the Roche thing was pretty dumb. Still think Chaos Knight's really good, though. But he did literally wreck Roshan with this. Had like a 54% win rate on this hero, so definitely needed a nerf. Chen, base movement speed increased by 5. Hand of God cooldown by 10. Crystal Maiden. Okay. Lower cooldown on level 1 ulti. That's actually significant. Explosion damage radius by 20. And okay. Honestly, maybe see him. I don't know. I'd like to believe see him because I love the hero, but not convinced. Shard fear duration reduced. Base health drain per second reduced. Now does 50% damage to buildings. Don't worry, guys. It was really important that we felt it out to make sure that doubling her damage to towers wasn't broken. We had to make sure we waited 2 months to address this. So if you guys don't know, when they changed the damage types in 7.31, Exorcism did double damage to towers compared to what it used to do. So now it does what it did before. Thank God. I saw this hero literally every game in my bracket, so thank God. I think she's now pretty dead. Maybe situational at best. Mana cost on Thunderstrike reduced, Pog. Shard damage per second decreased. Okay. Earthshaker, mana cost reduced, Pog. Damage reduced. Enchantress can now only dominate creeps up to level 4, 5, 6, 6. Wow! Holy poggers. Okay, so Enchantress can no longer enchant big creeps. Level 1. I think you still have to block camps near the lane. Like the Satyr camp would be really deadly, the one that mana burns you. But you're no longer going to get like a Pinecone creep or whatever, the pineapple creep, like queuing you for 100 damage at level 1. So that's nice. I think Enchantress is still okay, but this hero definitely plagued my games as well. So thank you for that. Eidolon magic resistance increased. Eidolon bounty decreased. Eidolon experience reduced. Oddly enough, I had a decent amount of Enigmas in the last like week or two, and it seemed like it was doing okay. So I think Enigma might be a hero. Eidolons are pretty important. Since he's denying you creeps, the only way you can make up for it is killing the Eidolons, and now they're worth less. Okay. Strength at max health regen reduced. Okay. Definitely necessary to nerf Huskar. I'd say that mainly affects his early game, but 10% at max level also. Keeper of the Light. Oh my god, he's not a freaking race car. Okay. Still he's still like a Mustang, but he's not a race car. Mana restored, reduced by 20 at all levels. Knockback duration reduced by 0.2. I think Coddle will still be good. I do think the 20 mana at level 1 matters because it's a lot less spammable with your spells, but I think this hero's still good. Hopefully we don't have to see him mid anymore. That would get really old. Base attack speed increased by 10 on Lycan. Okay, I'm liking that. Summoned Wolf, Shard Lane Wolf. That's such a weird jumble of words. Increased attack damage by 3. Okay, so it's just in pairing with this. Okay, Lycan might be back. They gave him 10 attack speed. They buffed his wolf damage. They buffed the items he buys. Lycan might actually be back. Medusa. Split shot damage is actually reduced, Pog. 5% at all levels. Mana cost on Stone Gaze also increased. Okay. Medusa was pretty broken. Is that enough? Not sure. It's a good start, though. Reaper Scythe permanent health regen decreased to 246. Okay. Cooldown increased. Mana cost increased. Heal reduced. Okay. I think that was definitely the best way to fix Necro. Necro is definitely one of those heroes that is purely numbers based. If the numbers are too high, the hero just becomes... he hits this like critical mass too easily. I think the hero is still fine. I think Necro is still decently strong, but he won't be as strong, which is good. Nyx Assassin, mana cost on Impale reduced pretty drastically at max level. Spike radius also increased. Okay, so the skill shot's a little bit easier to land. I think Nyx is probably too weak of a laner to work in the current meta, but maybe with some ranged offlaners like Necro, like Viper, provide you with some catch, maybe. Omni Knight, mana cost increased. This hero has a really high win rate, but at the highest level, he got kind of solved because he was dealing with Necros and DPs every game. Basically, this hero gives you like 800 health, And so people were countering him by just picking heroes that did percent HP damage. So for me, I wasn't seeing any of this hero, but maybe with the Death Prophet nerfs, as well as the Necro nerfs, maybe he would have been super overpowered. Not sure. I don't think this hero is that great, even though it has a high win rate. Phoenix, damage per second increased by 5 at all levels for Icarus Dive. Sorry, I thought this was Fire Spirits. I mean, you don't really use Icarus Dive for damage most of the time. Usually it's like a survivability thing, but I have been seeing, I mean, Mira, Effie was talking about how good Phoenix was in the China region, so maybe we'll see more Phoenix. Was there no Mars change? Mars was just ignored. That's so weird. Mars is like pub win rate's not that high, but it's one of the most highly contested offlaners, so. Onslaught has a sound audible through Fog of War. Okay, that's actually really nice. I appreciate that. That's a nice nerf. Attack damage per stack reduced. Movement speed slow per stack reduced. Damage threshold increased. Wait a minute. Hear me out, guys. That means the counter to Primal Beast in the 5 position is Crystal Maiden. She 100% does less than 50 damage per attack. Think about it. Are you guys with me? Trample. Base damage reduced by 8, 7, 6, 5. Mainly the 8 at level 1. And attack damage percentage reduced by 5%. Okay, so Trample only does half of your HP instead of all of it. Level 1. That's good. Shard damage increased. Trample attack damage percent bonus reduced. Okay, I think this hero is actually balanced now. It might actually be shit. I'm not sure. This Trample nerf's pretty massive. You probably have to take Trample level 3 now. I don't think you can take Trample level 1 or 2. It's too shit, I think. Pudge! Damage per second rescaled. Wow. Pugna. Level 20 Decrep duration talent. Okay. Cast range on Decrep reduced at max level. And cooldown increased by 1 at all levels. Radius of Netherward reduced. I still think this hero's pretty good. Maybe this radius will be more impactful than I think it is. But, I don't know. Pugna was pretty OP and competitive. And I think he's still strong. I don't think any of what they nerfed actually... I guess the Decrep nerf is nice. The cast range and then the cooldown. Sand King, another very broken hero. DPS on Sandstorm actually buffed level 1, but nerfed at max level. Mana cost increased at all the lower levels. Shard Epicenter bonus damage per pulse reduced from 20 to 10. Oh, I actually didn't know that the Shard increased Epicenter damage. I thought it just gave you that extra pulse. I actually didn't know that. Huh, what do you know? His Sandstorm talent went from 20 to 15. So he effectively got a 20, or he got a 15 damage nerf on Sandstorm. That's pretty good, I guess. Sandstorm Radius, Sandstorm Blind, and Slow. I still think this hero is very strong, because they actually buffed his level 1 Sandstorm a relevant amount. I think the hero's still strong. Slark mana cost on Dark Pact reduced. Outgoing damage rescaled. Am I convinced? I do not believe so. I think this hero is still very bad. I might be wrong, but something tells me he's still not very good. Spectre. Base HP regen by 0.5. That's actually relevant. Base agility increased by 2. That's also relevant. Giving this hero a little bit of stats and a little bit of HP regen is quite nice. Radius threshold from dispersion increased. So that's effectively a buff. This means that the further away you are, you would still take equivalent damage. Okay. Base armor reduced by 1. Good nerf. Literally killable. Level 10 mana regen talent reduced. Damage decreased on overload. Okay. Storm is certainly one of the strongest mids of the patch. So I think... I mean, the Null Talisman changes were just, like, too good for him, and they didn't change that at all. So they definitely needed to nerf Storm. It makes some of his laning matchups worse. Makes it harder for him to CS with Overload, especially level 1. Warcry on Sven. Movement speed increased by 2%. Holy shit, race car. Shard passive armor increased by 2. Okay. Isn't it an aura? Isn't the shard an aura? To all allies. That's a lot. 7 bonus armor for all allies? That's a lot of armor. Are we going to see Sven support? Is that like unironically good? That actually might be really good. Are they trying to make this hero a support? Because your shard makes Warcry undispellable, right?
Lord Knight at your service.
Yeah, Warcry is now undispellable and passively grants armor. So your Warcry is a 20-second cooldown, 8-second duration. But if you get the level 10 talent, which as a support you would, it's an 11-second duration. And then you buy Octarine Core. No, I mean, that's... I actually think this hero might be support. I'm going to probably try him out. Maybe offlane? Yeah, maybe offlane, honestly. I kind of want to try this. This is legit, I think. The new Vlads? I think this hero might be like a Drums Vlads type offlaner. With a stun. I'm honestly down to try it. I'm actually down. I might try this. Only problem is they nerfed his armor in lane, right? He has like 2 base armor or something.
I am ready.
3.5. Maybe he's too weak to be a offlaner. Maybe you go Wraithband on this hero in the offlane. Similar to like Tinies and shit. Templar Assassin. Bonus damage on refraction reduced at max level or at higher levels by 5, 10, 15. Yeah, she was broken. Definitely a necessary nerf. I think the hero is still viable, but it's definitely... I think this is definitely relevant. Taking away 15 damage. Timbersaw. Stat loss percentage reduced. Stat loss duration reduced. Dude, how is it that this hero just is always meta? I feel like this hero just conceptually busted that he's like so good against strength heroes. But the stat loss percentage is nice, I guess. Yeah, you also have to include the Deso nerf for TA. Like I said, I think the hero is still going to be good. I just don't think... I do think this is a relevant amount of damage. For a hero that reduces your armor by 14 to take away 20 damage with Refraction plus Meld, or plus Deso, it's definitely relevant, 20 damage. Like, that's not nothing. Tinker, base strength increased by 1. Pog. Mana cost reduced on laser. Okay. He's like... Okay, Tinker hasn't been plaguing pubs for 1 patch. Let's bring him back. I mean, I don't think this makes Tinker good, but... Okay, here's what we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. I'm scrolling obnoxiously, so we can't read yet. Tiny. Building damage reduced on tree grab by 15% at all levels. Okay. Tree damage attack multiplier reduced from 40, 45, 50... I still don't understand this. Oh, I think it's a result of this bonus damage, right? Yeah. So he's losing 6 damage with first grow, like 10 damage with second level of grow, 11 damage with level 3 grow. Slow now also applies to tree volley damage. Oh. So you don't need an Echo Saber to slow people with Ags. Okay. The level 15 grow damage is now status resistance, and the level 20 is now grow damage. Yeah, these are pretty significant nerfs to Tiny, I think. You're reducing his damage, you're reducing his timings. I think the hero will still be viable, but I do not think it will be broken. I think these are relevant. They add up. Reducing a hero's building damage, his actual damage. Is it crippling? No. Is it enough to make him not broken? I think so. Tiny's dead? I guess we'll see. If I'm misunderstanding these numbers and how they work, then maybe yes. If it's all of his base damage, where he loses like 40 damage with this, then that would be very different. But if it's what I thought it was, then that's not that bad. I guess this was just always a bit confusing. Troll Warlord, melee base attack time improved. Dude, this shit used to be 1.55 like 3 years ago. And they just keep reducing it. It went from 1.55 to 1.5, then 1.45, and now it's 1.4. For people, lower base attack time is good. So, fixed Troll sometimes not properly getting sight of its target in Fog of War. I mean, can't they just change this spell? Literally the worst ultimate in Dota. Can they just change this? Fuck. Maybe this is good enough, though. I don't know. I mean, that's a significant amount of damage when you're considering a hero with a ton of attack speed. And they're also nerfing these other carries. Undying, cast range on Tombstone reduced, zombie spawn interval is increased at max level, or 0.1.2.3. Okay. Golem health increased by 200 at all levels. Aghanims increased by 100 at all levels. Winter Wyvern, duration increased by 2. Secondary projectile speed increased by 150. Wow, the duration on Arctic Burn? That's pretty good, isn't it? Oh, that's how long you're flying. For some reason, I thought it was like the damage you're doing. No, it's... I mean, it's still not bad, but I thought it was how long you did damage for. Well, all I know is that if Lycan and Beastmaster become meta because of the buffs to the Vlads and stuff, that this hero will become meta, because Wyvern is the best anti-summons support in the game, I think. So keep an eye out for Wyvern. She might actually be meta. She got a little bit of buffs. They nerfed these super oppressive laners like Enchantress, and then they buffed summons. So I think like they buffed heroes with summons. So yeah, you might see a decent amount of Wyvern. Witch Doctor, damage per second increased by 5,432. I don't know, I guess that's decent. Zeus, distance increased from 450 to 500. Pog. Damage increased on Arc Lightning by 10 at all levels. That's actually relevant. That's an ability you spam. That's very relevant. Lightning Bolt by 0.1 seconds cast point. Those Zeus buffs are actually relevant. Nerf to Storm too. One of his worst matchups. Honestly, maybe Zeus. I want to try Zeus. No Kappa. This 10 damage at level 1 is pretty relevant, I think. 10 damage on Arc Lightning. That seems pretty good. There's a lot of heroes with base damage around like 60 to 70 in the mid lane. So making his damage go from 80 to 90 significantly increases that gap on getting last hits. Okay, let's think about this for a second. So the patch is relatively small. I think they didn't really want to drastically change the game prior to the major, which is fine. Understandable. They definitely adjusted and addressed all of the super broken shit. Like this, and just the best items in the patch were definitely these 4. So that's a good buff. I don't even know if these needed to be buffed, but it's definitely worth considering. Those are relevant buffs. Cost buffs to items that are ball related, like you group up with your team and do things, is always a bit scary. Just because it like speeds up that timing by 30 seconds to a minute, which can drastically change if the 5-man works. So when it comes to heroes, okay, we'll talk about the 5 biggest losers of the patch. Let's see. 5 biggest losers of the patch. Number 1 is definitely Death Prophet. I think this hero is virtually dead. I think in pubs, you can pretty much ignore it now. I think it'll be situational at best in top tier Dota. I think this nerf to the laning stage and then this nerf to fix things is plenty to deal with this. I don't even know if Enchantress and Coddle are big enough losers. I will say Enchantress is much weaker. A lot of people were taking heal at level 1 anyways. So maybe this will just change the build of the hero, where you go like heal and then impetus level 2 or something. But I will say I think Enchantress was really defining, at least in my bracket. I don't know if lower MMR support players picked this, but it really frees up. I wouldn't say she's like the biggest loser, but she's one of the most impactful changes. I feel like if you picked supports that were innately weak against Enchantress, you were very vulnerable to just getting ran over. So I'm very glad that that got done. I would say Primal Beast, definitely one of the biggest losers of the patch. Most notably, the level 1 trample damage, going from 20 to 12 and then reducing the attack percentage as well. It seems like his laning stage is not super busted. Just all of his numbers got nerfed. And you can also react to this when you're getting ganked. I definitely died as heroes like Weaver or Faceless Void, where if I knew he was coming, I could have dodged it. But I died to it like full to 0 in the mid game. So very happy to see these nerfs to the hero. I've talked about it on stream a lot. I think the hero conceptually is not well designed. But at least they nerfed him, so that's good. Definitely Tiny is going to be one of the biggest losers of the patch. I think he went from like I think he's probably going to lose 3 to 4% win rate with this changes. Tiny's really good against heroes that are position-based and want to get bursted. Or not want to, but like want to avoid getting bursted. He wants to burst them. Tiny generally struggles against like the Timber Saws, the Necros, these like beefy bodies in front of him that he can't kill. So I think his numbers were so busted that you could just pick him pretty much whenever. And now I think he's just situational. I think he'll still be good. I think the Moonshard build will still be strong in the games where he's good. But yeah, I don't think he will be ultra broken. And for the 5th loser, they definitely nerfed all the right heroes. But in terms of like the 5th most nerfed hero, I feel like the other nerfs were relatively irrelevant. Maybe Dusa. I don't think the SK nerfs were significant enough. Like, meaning like the hero will still be very good. The hero had like a 54% win rate. I don't think Sand King is going to be... Like, it nerfs him for sure. Like, he's not as good, but I don't think he's not too upset. It's either Sand King or Medusa, I guess. Just overall nerfs to their power level as the game goes on, especially on Medusa, where you're just straight up doing 5% less damage. They also nerfed Scotty, so your overall power level is just weaker. When we talk about winners of the patch, top 5 winners of the patch that I'm gonna try myself, I definitely think Lycan's a winner of the patch. They buffed his laning phase. They buffed his items. They buffed his wolves. I think we're going to see more Lycan. Whether you're liking that or not, you will probably see Lycan. So that's one. Another one that's very interesting to me is Sven. They buffed his Shard passive armor. This is an aura that went from 5 to 7. With the talent, his Warcry has a 55% uptime. They also gave him a better stun. So like you're enticed to max it out because the level 1 is better, but then also the mana cost scales cheaper. So I want to try 5 position Sven and offlane Sven. That is what I want to try. That is what they have buffed him with. I think he will buy Vlad's. I think he'll go the Vlad's drums. The Vlad's plus the upgraded drums. And just run at people with a stun. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be powerful. We'll have to see. Maybe his laning stage is just too weak to make it work. But I'm definitely going to try it. I actually think Zeus is a pretty big winner of this patch. I'll put him at number 3. I would like to play him mid a bit. This is important for positioning. Level 1 CSing is like way better now, I think. Just overall little buffs to him, and also mentioning that one of his worst matchups, Storm Spirit, got nerfed. I think is a big deal. I'm going to mention a winner of this patch being a hero that just didn't get touched, and that's probably going to be Anti-Mage. I think Anti-Mage and Pangolier are the biggest winners of this patch, in the sense that out of all of the heroes that I think deserve to get nerfed, I don't see them on here. So I'll put Anti-Mage and Pango as 2 of my big winners. And then the other hero I also want to try is probably Crystal Maiden. This kind of just lets you chuck your ultimate out, level 6, for like whatever. It could literally just be used for a stack. Like a 4 stack or something. You can just farm an ancient camp or something with this. Like the cooldown reduction is pretty significant. And I think CM's pretty buffed because of the Enchantress nerfs and like the Bane nerf. And I mean, the Bane nerf's kind of minimal, but point is like these other really strong laners got nerfed. I think I want to try Crystal Maiden as well. When it comes to the carry role, just because that is my main role, I think Anti-Mage is going to still be really good. I don't think Slark is significantly better. Spectre might actually be better. This is 2 damage, 2 attack speed, HP regen on a hero that actually utilizes it really well because of the way dispersion works. I'm down to try Battle Fury builders like Troll now. I feel like Battle Fury builders were largely phased out because of how broken Tiny and Medusa were. they were just better Battle Furies, right? Like Tiny has a shard and then Medusa just has split shot. So I think the pace of the game is going to be a bit slower because of the heroes that got nerfed were very fast paced. My only concern being the summons heroes, but heroes like Troll are very good against like Lycan and Beastmaster. I also think Terrorblade kind of went up in stock. I was already doing pretty well with Terrorblade myself. So I think those are my predictions for... These were my heroes for last patch, and those are my predictions for this patch. But I'll definitely keep you guys posted if anything comes up that's just crazy good suddenly. Yeah, I'll let you guys know about the support Sven if I think it's good as well. But that's about it. So thanks for watching my review of 7.31c. And hopefully it changes enough relevant to make the patch for the major a little bit more entertaining.